All right, it's a Merry Christmas kind of month, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I know by now, or soon, you're gonna be sick of all your relatives. That's why we're cooking with booze. We're gonna make donut holes, and we're gonna do a bourbon caramel with whipped cream, cinnamon sugar, and how to make a caramel. So, what do you say we start getting cocked? All right, well, first, we're gonna start caramelizing our sugar in a pan. So we're gonna take about 2 tablespoons of sugar, 3 tablespoons of sugar with a little bit of water. We wanna dissolve the sugar in the water. What'll happen is the water will evaporate and the sugar will be left to caramelize in the pan. All right, so we're gonna do this slow because if you walk away from this, you will burn it, I promise you. Any chef who said he's never burnt caramel, bacon, or croutons is a liar. You'll see the steps as it starts to turn brown and caramelize. We'll keep flashing back and forth. But while that's happening, we're gonna take our bowl of flour, all-purpose flour. I'm doing a little bit more than usual because we're a full-service restaurant. I'm gonna take a half a cup of yeast. We're gonna take 2 tablespoons of sugar. We're gonna throw our glove on so we don't have dough in our cracks and crevices. And then we're gonna add room temperature water and incorporate the dough until it has sort of a sticky, doughy consistency. So we're gonna go slow. I can feel it getting thick, so we're gonna add a little more water. And we're just gonna work it between your fingers until all the flour and water is combined into a dough. This is a yeast dough. So I put the sugar and the flour together with the yeast so that the yeast has something to feed on. The yeast needs to feed so that it can grow. It's gonna produce this airy, floating donut for us. All right, there it is. Don't worry about the lumps. The lumps always work themselves out, especially with the yeast dough, because it's gonna rise, it's gonna double almost. All right, now I'm gonna take a container. We're gonna fill it halfway. You don't want to go too full in the container because when this rises, it'll bust out of it. It'll be all over your refrigerator. So we're gonna go like 3/4-ish. And we have to let it sit. I'm gonna put this in the fridge. All right, we're gonna turn the heat up. We're gonna turn the heat up and see if we can't get this baby going. This is the point where you want to hang on and stay with it because it'll caramelize. Once it starts to caramelize, it'll be very, 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 very fast. Starting right now. You don't want to touch it. You don't want to touch it with your fingers. You don't want to use any tools, utensils, because the sugar will stick to it and you'll never get it off. You'll have to cook it off. So we're just gonna let this go, keep shaking it. And as you can see, we're working out caramel. If you go too far, it's gonna burn and it's gonna be bitter and you're not gonna like it. You're gonna throw it away and it's gonna be a pain in the ass to get it out of this pan. So that's what sugar looks like when it's liquid in caramel. At this point, I'm gonna whip in a little bit of heavy cream. See how fast that goes? That's gonna help pick the sugar up off the bottom of the pan. I'm gonna put a little bit more. So we have a nice creamy caramel. And then I have whole, unsweetened, unsalted butter. Take it off. And then we're gonna whip in the butter off the heat. The heat from the pan is enough to melt the butter into the caramel. When the butter is completely melted, we're gonna finish it with the bourbon. All right, so we put that off to the side. Now we're gonna hit it with some bourbon. We don't want to cook the bourbon out. Family's over. We want to be a little loopy for them, or else they're gonna drive you crazy. And now we have a bourbon caramel. Our donuts should be nice and proofed by now, which means they rose. The yeast has eaten, and it has given off the gas to make the donuts light and airy. Of course, you can do this on a stovetop with canola oil, soy oil, 350 degrees. You want to wet the spoon. Wet the spoon with the oil, and then spoon out a donut. Sort of a zeppoli, if you will. And we keep wetting the spoon as we spoon out donuts. All right, donuts are in. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna give it a little shake, the basket, so that the donuts come up off the bottom of the basket, or else they'll stick and you'll never get them off later. Just give them a little shot. There they are. See how they float? That's from the yeast dough. It's nice. So we gotta let that cook about 5-6 minutes. 5 minutes, 6 minutes. We have some nice golden brown, crispy on the outside, nice and moist on the inside donuts. We let them drain out a little bit. We want the donuts a little bit wet so that it'll stick to the. This is just cinnamon and sugar. And then we're gonna dust. We're gonna shake it. Now we're gonna take our caramel sauce, put a nice little layer on the bottom. Donuts in the caramel. Nice and airy, fluffy. Turn it upside down. They'll never know. Gotta have a little whipped cream, right? And what do you say? Cinnamon donuts with bourbon caramel and whipped cream. Merry Christmas, almost.